All right, we're back for another episode of the Rehashables. This time focusing on our boy Superman. Matt, how you doing, pal?
I'm doing great. Look at us recording a movie podcast. Like that's only a week ago that it came out. Like good for us for getting out to the theater and watching this thing.
So we are almost done the summer movie season, and this is the first summer movie that I've actually seen. We had such high hopes for us, like Mission Impossible, Ballerina, a bunch of other movies, and this is the first one that I've actually made the point to go see, and we saw it separate. But I am excited to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, you've had a crazy summer, but it's just fun, man. It was so good to see how good it did at the box office, how much buzz it was getting. I saw it too in an IMAX theater. It was on a Tuesday night. Place was packed. Just a good vibe. Just great being back at a movie theater and watching it. It was awesome. So
it's funny to me that this is the first one that I saw, though. When I think back to my hype list, I forget exactly where I had this, but it had to be like 2 or 3, maybe even 4. I think I might have had Fantastic Four ahead of it. I think I had Mission Impossible, Ballerina ahead of it. But end of the day, this is the one that I actually went to go see. I think the hype got to me over the past couple weeks. The reviews were good. It seems to be the center of conversation on everything that I follow online. So it's the one that got me out of the house to go see. I went 9:30 last night. There was probably 30 people in the movie theater, which is cool.
30 people at a 9:30 showing, a week and a half after it comes out is, in Saco, Maine, is pretty awesome. And we're big James Gunn fans. You know what I mean? I'll never forget what was it, 10, 11 years ago or so when Guardians came out, and you and I think went to go see that together, knowing nothing about Guardians of the Galaxy, knowing nothing about James Gunn, and that honestly being like one of the best movie theater experiences we've had, and just our minds being blown by that movie. And ever since then, James Gunn superhero movies are always kind of a must watch for us.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what he can do with the DC universe of movies. But Guardians of the Galaxy was a great movie. Great music. And I feel some of those similar vibes watching this movie, which we'll kind of get into. But you can definitely tell it was a James Gunn movie.
Yeah, absolutely. The tone of this was great. So I'm ready to dive right in. And I'm looking forward to chatting with you about this and doing something different than what we normally do, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that for a second. So we decided that we are going to do our conversations that focus around one movie or show with some different categories to kind of move the conversation forward instead of just rehashing the whole show or movie scene by scene chronologically. We're going to jump around. We're going to do these different categories. It's our first time trying it, so we'll see how it goes. If it doesn't go well, we can cut some. If we have to adjust some, that'll be cool. But I think this will give us a good framework. So you're fired up about this or what?
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things that if you've seen this movie and you're listening, we're spoiling the movie. We're going to be talking about all this stuff. So it makes sense as opposed to our other structure of like explaining the movie or going in chronological order. I just think we'll have so much more fun with it. So.
All right, pal. So then let's do this. All right. I'm going to just kick off the awards and then we will just see where it goes from here. So first one that we're going to do you have something you want to add first?
No, that's it. Let's just dive right in, and then we'll talk about kind of. Well, actually, you know what? I am going to pause for a second because I do want to ask you something. I think before we dive into the awards, can you just give me your overall thoughts about the movie? I think that would be important. Just kind of like set the scene on what you thought of the movie, just overarching stuff, and then we can get a little bit specific by each category. What did you think when you saw the movie last night?
And we will do this because one of our couple awards that we're going to have at the end is the Legacy Points Award, which is will this movie matter in 10 years? And then our final award, the Rehash Verdict Award. So we will kind of dig into this more, but I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was fun to watch visually, a lot of action, kind of jumped right out into action right from the beginning. I like the music. The 2 hours flew by that I was there, which is always a good sign. So I left with like a very positive impression. I've just been trying to consume everything I can on it since then.
I completely agree. You and I are 100% on the same page. I had a blast at the movie theater watching this. The fact that it was a 2-hour movie is awesome. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't 2.5 hours, wasn't 2 hours and 45 minutes. It did fly by. It was light. It didn't take itself too seriously. So overall, I love the movie. And I'm glad to hear you did too. And, now I think we can just dive in. But I just wanted to get your initial impressions before kind of we could talk about the verdict and all that kind of stuff after we get through all the awards. But I'm glad to hear that you liked it.
I only fell asleep for like 3 minutes, which was nice. So got that kind of out of the way in the first.
How many times did you go to the bathroom during the movie?
0 times. It was a nice 2-hour runtime. Went to the bathroom before, went to the bathroom after, did not have to get up. It was just my falling asleep for a couple minutes, dozing off, and I was good. This happens every movie. Doesn't matter if I go see it at 10 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, 9:30 at night. I will fall asleep for a split second in the first half hour, and then I'm blocked in, which I was again last night. And it was a
It's
great time.
literally such a dad move. It is such a dad. It's what Dad used to do when we went to the theaters. It's such a dad move that you fall asleep for a couple minutes and then feel refreshed. So
Well, these seats are so freaking comfortable too. It's like, how can I
know.
not fall asleep? Yeah.
It's not like
anyways,
Cinema 8 back in Biddeford back in 1995.
so funny. Yeah, no, and man, nice recliner, nice comfortable chair. So it is not a sign that I didn't enjoy the movie. It's just one of those things that I have to deal with, and you know, it is what it is. I'm just glad I got it out of the way, and I could tell I was locked in afterwards.
Yeah.
So
Awesome, man. All right, here we go.
All right, so first one. We're gonna do the. If looking at the names and stuff, it's the scene that stole the show. So, scene that stole the show award. I want you to go first. What's the scene that stole the show for you?
The scene that stole the show for me was at the end of the movie when Superman was going up and the engineer and the other Superman was kind of hanging on him and he was going up into space and kind of like wondering what the hell was going on. The engineer had the black stuff all over Superman, stuff going down his throat, and you're wondering what was happening. And when he went like up outer space and then came crashing back down and kind of like ruined that, I thought that scene was just awesome. It was just like a lot of fun to watch. Showed Superman kind of outsmarting Lex Luthor for the first and only time of the entire movie. It was kind of the climax at the end, and I thought that part really stole the show for me.
Yep.
Pretty much for the whole Superman movie.
That was a great scene. It was a great battle. You actually felt like, wow, that's a way to get to Superman that I had never thought of or seen before. And I want to actually say,
up to that point, Lex was up to him every time. Like Lex was at one step ahead of Superman the entire movie, and that was awesome. And we could talk about that at like another point. But like Lex, I mean, Nicholas Hoult did an incredible job, I thought, as Lex Luthor. But I thought this was the one thing that Superman did that just showed that he, you know, Brawn can beat brains, and his just superpowers were just too strong for that. So
love that scene. I do want to get to the engineer afterwards, but the scene that stole the show award for me goes to Mr. Terrific, who I freaking absolutely loved. I really enjoyed the scene with him and Lois Lane where he got to the tent where the portal was, and he basically took out like that whole base worth of things, threw her in the bubble. He had the music going. His orbs are kind of going around, and he's cleaning house. And just the way Mr. Terrific, like the way he is just totally unexpected. I have no history with Mr. Terrific, so awesome character, awesome scene is probably my favorite when I look back at the whole movie.
So I was going to pick that. I was going to pick that scene. And it was the song 5 Years Time was playing. I've listened to it probably 24 times in the last week when he threw up the bubble. It was such an incredible scene. I'm so happy you did that because I felt guilty. If I picked a non-Superman freaking scene in this movie, I would just, like, that wouldn't make sense to me. But I'm happy you said it because I do think it was probably, if not the best scene, one of the best scenes because it was awesome with the music. That felt so much like Guardians of the Galaxy to me. It was awesome.
It felt very Guardians of the Galaxy. Like 1 and 2, just the scenes where bodies are flying, people are flipping around, spinning around, the camera's moving. It very much. I mean, that's probably a James Gunn signature at this point, but I think that's why I liked it so much. So I guess I didn't have the same reservation about picking it. It just when I walked out of the movie theater, I was like, "Yep, that was my favorite scene." So I knew it pretty much as soon as I left. So
I've never heard that song in my life. I've never heard that song in my life, and it was a great song choice. It was great.
Wait, all right, let's talk about the music for a second. I thought, is that an actual song or a song that was for the movie?
That I don't know. It's on the playlist. It's on the soundtrack. Obviously, whether that song, I assume it was a song like out there in real time than before. But so I'm not sure. I've never heard that song before. But James Gunn's a big music guy. I figured it was like a original for the movie. So for me, the song that I really liked, where is it? It was the song that the credits went out to, like the first credits. Really love that song. I don't know who. It might have been by like the punk rocker or punk rocker by the Teddy Bears. Yeah.
I just assumed that these songs were original songs. So like that, I didn't even think that the song for that part of the movie was an actual song that's out there. Obviously it's on the soundtrack, but I didn't think of it as like an actual song that existed outside of the movie. I just thought it was created for the movie. But either way, great song choice in that moment.
Confirmation, 5 Years Time was not an original song for the movie. It came out in 2007 by a band by Noah and the Whale, used specifically in the Superman movie, but it was not made for Superman. So it came out 18 years ago.
Cool. James Gunn has great music sense.
One thing James Gunn did, which is really interesting, on Spotify, he made a playlist for every character in the film for like what music they would listen to. Like he has a Lois Lane playlist, he has a Clark Kent playlist. Yeah, like he has like a playlist for all the different characters, which I thought was pretty great idea. Good marketing.
Yeah, I heard that in one of the podcasts that we listened to. I just haven't gotten a chance to check it out yet, but I did look at the original soundtrack and have been kind of messing around with that too. So I'll have to check that out for sure. Do you have any honorable mentions for this award?
What's that?
Do you have any honorable mentions for this award, like other scenes that come up to mind?
I mean, I think I don't want to step on too much of the other awards, so I don't want. So I'll hold off on that. Unless something else specific you want. Because the only one was going to be the Mr. Terrific one, but you mentioned it. So.
Okay. All right, cool. That's fine. Two good choices for that one. How about the Spotlight Stealer or Spotlight Snatcher award? Who's the person that stole any scene that they were in the movie?
100%. I think it's Jimmy Olsen. I thought anytime Jimmy Olsen was on screen, the stick man, Jimmy Olsen, is just, it was so funny that they just kind of like had the thing that the women are just absolutely obsessed with him. And then there was a twist that Lex Luthor's girlfriend used to date him and just couldn't get enough of Jimmy Olsen, and really the one that saved the day at the end of the movie. That actor is just, he's awesome. He was in the movie Booksmart, which I don't know if you've ever saw that comedy, an Olivia Wilde movie. It's one of the funniest movies of the last 20 years. And he's in Righteous Gemstones. He is just so funny. And I thought Jimmy Olsen was just a great character.
Definitely. He's definitely in that like top two for me. His whole character was hilarious, and I thought it was perfect. I don't think he's that way in the comics. Right? I wouldn't know. I don't read the comics.
He's like a nerdy kid.
Not like, what's that?
He's like a nerdy kid. You know what I mean? He's like not a stick man. Definitely not.
I love the stick man. What does that go back to?
So funny.
Goes back to what? Rappaport, right? And Simmons.
What a fall from grace. That was one of the best podcasts in the history of podcast digital media.
The absolute freaking best. So for me, God, I guess I feel like Jimmy Olsen's the perfect one. As far as like superhero characters, the person that I was like very intrigued with that I would watch is like the Engineer. I thought the Engineer was I don't know that it would be a scene stealer, but just like whenever she was on screen, I was like, wow, what a freaking badass like villain superhero. And it reminded me, have you ever seen Big Hero 6?
Yes. Yeah.
So it was like that movie, but that villain, but in this movie, like a truly unstoppable villain. I'm surprised that they even got to her. So for me, I thought she was awesome anytime she was on screen, just visually to watch her. Obviously not a lot of depth to her, but like, again, visually and what her powers were, I was like, wow, what a freaking awesome villain. Yeah,
it was so original, and the special effects really worked for her. You know, that scene in what the hell is it? I can't believe I'm forgetting the name of the palace where Superman goes. Oh, so the Fortress of Solitude. Fortress of Solitude, where they break in there, and she's like getting the full message from Superman's parents, Bradley Cooper and the other woman. And like downloading that was just such a cool. That was really that was a cool scene too. So she was great in that.
So I enjoyed her. Okay, are you ready to move on to the next one?
Yeah, go ahead. Do you want to go first for this one?
Okay, mic drop moment award. All right, so this is best one-liner or speech that crushed it. There's a few different things that kind of come to mind here for me. So I'm just going to kind of let them rip, and then I'll kind of let you. There's three things that come to mind, and again, just chime in. I'm sure you'll have some similarities. One line that I thought was just like really funny was when Mr. Terrific's garage was opening very slow, and Lois Lane was like kind of looking at him, and she's like, just with her eyes being like, "Are you serious with this freaking, with this the thing?" I think she said, "You have a UFO, but this is the fastest your garage is," or something like that. I thought that
That
was
was a great
a good
line.
line.
Great
Made me
line.
chuckle. Another one was it Hal Jordan? He actually would be another scene stealing guy for me. I actually found him very weird to look at, but like I kind of liked the way his character was. But he had a comment, I think, at some point about like would he sleep with like 348 women or something like
It
that.
was so funny. Lois, I have that in one of my things. Lois Lane goes, like, was walking away and was like, "Your haircut's ridiculous," and he goes, "398 women would disagree," or whatever. And Guy Fieri, he's just fantastic. He was very funny in this. He was my second character behind Jimmy Olsen. So
Yeah,
I'm glad. I thought that was such a funny line.
he was the other guy I was thinking for scene stealer. And I
Yeah.
actually kind of forgot as we're in the middle of it. Please bear with us. It's the first time we do all these awards, so that was kind of in the back of my mind for that. And then I just thought Superman's speech towards the end was pretty good as well. So on that level, I forget everything that he said, but I remember that little monologue he had. I thought was like pretty good.
So I was gonna go with that one. I thought
Yeah.
that speech at the end when he's like, "I'm human. I put my boots on every day. I fall in love. I get aggravated." I thought that was just an awesome speech. But since you just said that, I'm gonna go the complete opposite end of the spectrum. And I thought Lex Luthor's speech about just like when he was at the end was just beating up Superman. He's like, "Yeah, I hate you. I think you are. I did this all for you. I did this all so I could kill you. You remind me of how weak I am." Like his speech was just awesome, and like I said, Nicholas Holt's performance just was fantastic and really kind of. I know some people didn't like it. Some people thought it was over the top. I thought he was great. So
Some people didn't like his performance.
I saw it. No, some people thought it was a little bit over the top. Personally, and I don't think it's going to be one of the awards because I'll mention it now. I thought the him shouting out instructions like 1A
Yeah.
was like a genius awesome thing and just like showed how much he studied like Superman enough that he could this is how he could beat him and just was such a power move. I love that. So
Yeah. I thought he was awesome. And I think I missed, and I'm glad I missed it. Like any hate towards him and his performance, like was not something that stuck with me leading into the movie or even just walking outside. Like I was able to actually like form my own opinion on it. I thought he was awesome. I thought he was a great Lex Luthor. I was gonna say Lex Luger, but
imagine Lex Luger the bad guy in this. That'd be hilarious.
Lex freaking Luger. Yeah, great Lex Luthor. Like I compared to Jesse Eisenberg. I mean, I thought much more menacing. Like just great performance on my end of things.
Yeah,
So
he was great. And did you see like the salaries? Have you seen that at all in the last few weeks?
no,
Well, like so, Rachel Brosnahan and Dave Cornsweet got like $750,000 for this movie, and then I'm sure royalties and that sort of stuff. But then Nicholas Hoult got like $1.5 million for the movie, so he was like clearly the highest paid actor for the movie. I just thought that was interesting.
that is interesting. I don't know much about his filmography. He obviously has a better history to get that type of pay. What else is he in
I
again?
guess he was in Juror number 2 this year. He was in Mad Max many years ago. He was in a war movie this year. He's up and like he's kind of arrived. He's the man.
I think a lot of these people in this movie
He's gonna
are
elevate.
kind of going up that way for sure.
Yeah.
Didn't get a chance in that Spotlight Snatcher award to talk about our boy Beck Bennett. It was nice to see him in there. Very unexpected. Do you know what I'm talking about? Beck Bennett?
Good for you. Of course. SNL, I think like I love that guy on SNL. I thought he was such a great
I love
cast
that
member.
guy. Totally unexpected.
Yeah.
I would love to actually know how the hell he ended up in this movie because it just seemed like so out of place. But I was like, oh, that guy, so.
And he was the sports reporter, which is funny. He's like played like the dumb like sports, report. It was great. It was funny.
That whole little team was funny. So
Yeah.
okay, next one. Came in Hot Award.
Mm-hmm.
So best entrance for a character. Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Best entrance for a character was actually probably the beginning of the movie with Crypto the dog.
Totally. That was going to be for me too.
Ah, shit, yeah. I thought it set the tone for exactly what the dog was going to do. And I do think they overdid it a little bit with the dog. I think it was a little much at some parts. But, you and I both big dog guys. I thought how it came in and Superman is like bleeding and like seriously hurt. And the dog is just like jumping on him and like hurting Superman even more. And it just like 30 seconds to the movie, you're laughing, and it's like, this is setting the tone for the movie. It's not taking itself seriously. It's funny. It's light. And I thought that was the best entrance in the movie for a character. So
And it established that relationship early on as well. You know, like the dog would come running when he did his whistle, and they obviously had a relationship. He definitely cared deeply about the dog. But I thought that was a great entrance. Supergirl at the end, it wasn't like this remarkable entrance, but like it was a notable entrance. It was unexpected for me. I didn't know much about that whole scene, so it definitely caught me by surprise at the end of the movie. Which there's a whole bunch of other stuff.
I had no idea that was coming. I knew there was rumors that she was going to be casted as Supergirl. I know nothing about Supergirl personally. Before that, I thought it was DUMB. I'm not in on. I can't believe they're going this route. But like reading a little bit more about what her character arc is in the past and how she is like a big like drinker and kind of a hot mess and doesn't take place on Earth. Yeah, she's great too. She's had a year. Obviously, she was in Sirens, that show on Netflix, and she was in House of the Dragon a few years ago. So she's becoming, she'll blow up in the next few years too. So
never heard of it. So that's cool. I'll have to check that out. So all right, next one, freeze frame award, visual that belongs on a poster.
Is easy.
Anything that comes to mind for you there?
Absolutely. So the scene when towards the end of the movie, there's a building that's going to be falling on a car with a woman in it, and Superman comes underneath it and holds the building up. He's holding the building up, and then gives the woman just enough time to drive away. She drives away, and he drops the building, and the building kind of crashes on him. And I get goosebumps just saying it. Smoke all over the place as she looks back, and as the smoke is like clearing, you see like the silhouette of Superman flying right there, and I'm like, that is the freeze frame. That is the best shot of the movie. It's like the music at that time was awesome. So that I just remember that being like, I got goosebumps from that. I thought that was such a beautiful shot, and that would be my freeze frame award.
I love it. Jeez, Crow, you described that awesomely. So for me, a couple things come to mind. Like I think that you talked about the shot when they went up to space. Like just I always like space shots, and they're kind of coming out of the atmosphere. I thought that was a cool visual. You could go the shot of Superman and Lois elevated in that train station, well, not train station, whatever type of mall building that was. But those things kind of come to mind for me. Anything with Superman flying around as well. So, but I like the one that you picked.
Yeah, absolutely. So, no, I agree. That's great.
Okay, we're going to move on to another award. We call it the Cut It Award. This is the scene or subplot that you'd toss. Is there anything that comes to mind for that?
Yeah. The weakest part of the movie was when they were in the alternate dimension. And the river thing with the baby, I would cut that. They'd have to find another way to get the elemental guy or whatever, the superhero, or who becomes a superhero, like part of the gang. Because I just thought that stuff just did not look good. Him in that river, like being carried down, just didn't look good. It didn't look like the rest of the movie. I thought it was very confusing about the alternate universe thing. So if there's anything I would cut, it would be that.
Yeah, and that kind of gets to our next award, which is like the Wait What Award. It's just like plot hole, dumb decision. I have a different one for that, but this kind of can border on the same thing. Superman is so hard as I think of this to like really create stakes for Superman. And the whole just like kryptonite thing, and he's laying there on the ground, and it's like honestly, you can't get to Superman unless he turns himself in and there's kryptonite and just kind of holds him in place. I feel like this is the same way it's been done over the years. Like there really is nothing that can control him. And I don't know that you can really cut that stuff, but I don't love it. That they just laying there.
I'm not okay. So I'm not saying that scene. I'm not saying I don't mind the stuff in the blocks. And it was when they got out, and that specifically that river thing with the baby. That's the part I would find a different way to get them out. It just didn't. I didn't know what was happening. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I totally follow you. I don't want to say the exact same thing, but that's not different for me because that little cube prison is kind of in that pocket universe place too, where that river exists and stuff. And so I just didn't love that scene. And the Elemental Man was just so quick to basically turn on Lex Luthor. You know, he's like, "Oh, you shot this guy? Okay, I'm out." Like he never crossed his mind that Lex Luthor does like bad things. So it was just a little bit strange that he would turn so quickly. And then the baby thing was weird. The way Superman was carrying the baby around, like that baby would be in rough shape after that whole freaking scene.
Exactly. 100%. So I thought that part was a little crazy. So are you combining the Cutlet Award and the Wait What Award?
Yeah, just like the Elemental Man stuff, you know, the way. Oh no, I am not. I'm not combining the awards because I have a different thing for the Wait What Award. But just, I guess the Elemental Man stuff, the stuff in the Pocket Universe, just wasn't my favorite. I mean, it served to move the plot forward, but everything from the Kryptonite stuff with Superman to how it turned, how he got out of there, was just not my favorite stuff. I think that'll be the stuff that's never my favorite in a Superman movie. So, but it is what it is.
Yep. Okay, cool. Same page there.
So, Wait What Award for me. And I thought this was strange, and I've listened to some podcasts about this since, but just the fact that Superman's saying, I love you to Lois Lane, and they've only been together for a couple months. I mean, I guess, hey, it is what it is. People say I love you very early, sometimes in relationships, but it was like, it just seemed like this earned I love you, and it's like they are just kind of dating, you know, and it's just seemed like a very, very early in their relationship.
Listen, you and I were watching a different movie because Rachel Brosnahan, say I love you to that with her. She was insane in this movie. How good she was, how charismatic she was. I don't blame Clark Kent, Superman from Krypto at all, saying I love you to Rachel Brosnahan. She was incredible.
Yeah, she really was.
So I get that though. So I mean, obviously they move fast in a relationship, and it's hard with these awards because one of my favorite scenes was that interview, and I'm gonna mention them a little bit later in one of my other awards. But anyway, yeah, well, I'll save it for later. But I get it. You like to earn it a little bit more. So,
what about for you?
It's back to like the black hole stuff, like the split in the Earth. Like I don't understand how it happened and how it moved and how they stopped it, and like I didn't understand that stuff, which is sad because it's probably the climax of the movie and the whole ending of the movie, but I didn't quite understand why there was a crack in the Earth and how they stopped it, and you know all that stuff. So,
you know, as you mentioned that, it makes me think of the last Superman one, or I think at least Man of Steel, because there was a few with that iteration of Superman. But I remember one of the criticisms of that movie was just the citywide destruction that would happen, and just how people thought that's like just like too much, to the point you kind of go numb to it. You don't realize like what is actually happening, and the millions of people's lives that are being lost as these buildings are crashing, and you're flattening a whole entire huge city like Metropolis. So there was a time when the city was splitting apart and these big skyscrapers are falling over, and I'm just like, here we go again. Like the exact same criticism that you could apply to that Man of Steel to this movie, where it's just like, the hell's going on? There's probably like freaking 10 million people that just died in this whole encounter, which is ridiculous. And I think weighed very heavily on Superman into the sequels.
And I think Man of Steel specifically did that. I think this one, they don't show anybody die in the movie specifically. No. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know, like obviously people did, but one of the things that does drive me crazy is like when he's fighting bad Superman, who also, I just wanted to call him Black Noir the whole time in the thing, because he was dressed like Black Noir from The Boys, and the engineer, when they're just like flying and like going to buildings and going to the ground and like you don't even get a cut. It's like what's the stakes here? You know what I mean? That's always been a Superman problem because it can get redundant and old very fast. I do have a runner-up for this award, for the Wait What Award.
Okay, hit me.
So, wait, what? Lois Lane can just fly a spaceship? Like, okay. No big deal. Yeah, he said it's very easy to use, and I guess it is very easy to use because
he did say it's intuitive. They did throw that line in there. So
that one line, I guess, covers all the bases, but she's just flying this like her friends around, and they're editing articles in real time and publishing them and stuff. So I just thought that was a little. Wait, what?
I love it. That is a good one. Stuff like that always makes me laugh. Yeah. So, all right, you ready to move on to the next one?
What's that?
I said, you ready to move on to the next one?
Oh, yeah, let's go. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, next one, Bench Player Award. So the most underused character or actor. Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
I guess mine's kind of funny.
Okay, hit me.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead. Tell me what you got.
You got Bradley Cooper in the movie, and they did such a twist with him being Superman's dad. I had no idea Bradley Cooper was in this movie. Obviously, a relationship with James Gunn, being Rocket Raccoon and stuff. But you know, having Bradley Cooper come off your bench you know what I mean, as like a sixth man is not a bad thing. So I thought that would be my kind of my award for that one.
That is a great choice. When he came on, I had to like lean forward and be like, "Wait, is that Bradley Cooper?" Because I had no idea Bradley Cooper was in this, and just a great choice. And again, it's another James Gunn guy, so it makes sense for him to be there, like you said. But that is a great bench player award. So most underused, definitely underused.
And a good before getting to yours, a good twist. Like that was like so the twist of like his parents, the full message, like this is very much from like Invincible, the cartoon series that I love, when you come from this big planet and a superhero comes to Earth in order to dominate them. And that's basically what his parents kind of told Superman to do. They made it very much a point in the movie to say that message was real. Like that was like they went out over, they really went over and over again to say, no, this was a real thing. It wasn't like a manipulation by Luthor. So I thought that was interesting.
Is that open ended still, despite what they said in the movie, or that's definitive? That's what his parents said.
I think that's what his parents said. I'm not saying all Kryptons were bad or that kind of stuff, and I think it made the room for the Kansas family, which was awesome. And I can't believe I haven't talked about that scene or that stuff too. But from everything I've read, and that is one comic book storyline somewhere out there in the universe that happened. So,
love it. Most underused character for me, I can't give it to Mr. Terrific too, but I really did like him. He's probably my favorite character. But it's gonna go back to Hal, because they used him for that kaiju scene a little bit here and there. He's obviously a bigger character, but like they're setting up for the Green Lantern show that they have coming out. You familiar with what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, Lindelof is involved in it,
it's and Lindelof show. So he's going to be in that to some degree, with a couple different versions of the Green Lanterns that exist in the comic lore. So I thought they did a good job of introducing the idea of Green Lanterns in this movie for what will be set up in the future.
Yeah, he's funny. He was just a good comic relief in the movie. Nathan Fillion's a funny actor. Anytime he's in some stuff, except like Castle, which was one of his shows that he was in back in the day. But he, like, even when he was, we haven't talked about, like, one of the biggest plots of the movie is this war between two countries, which, you know what I mean, is so obvious to the conflicts happening in the world right now. But how him and other members of the Justice Gang go there, and like the green hands are going up, like the flipping off the soldiers. I thought that was very funny.
Yeah.
So, yeah, great choice.
Now it's funny too when Elemental Man was talking about like joining the Justice Gang, and Hal was like not sure that he would let him in, and then he's like, "Yeah, it's the Justice Gang," and he's like, "I kind of like that name." And he's looked at him, he's like, "You're in," just he's easy to get to. You just gotta play to things like that.
That is literally James Gunn back to Guardians of the Galaxy when Chris Pratt breaks in at the end of the movie, and one of the villain guys looks at him and he goes, "Star-Lord," and then Chris Pratt goes, "Finally." You know what I mean? Like it was exactly that kind of moment. You know what I mean? Where like that, it was like that correlation for a James Gunn writing.
Yeah, and that's great because no one really respected the Star-Lord name or really even called him Star-Lord. So when someone finally called him that, he was, like you said, finally. Yeah. So good.
So that's what it reminded me of.
Okay, MVP of the movie award. All right, and this could be a character, could be an actor, could be something bigger or concept. Do you have an MVP for this movie award?
This is going to be weird to say, but I think it was David Cornsweet and Rachel Brosnahan's chemistry. I thought those two together were just incredible. Like that scene I thought one of the best scenes of the movie was when she was interviewing him as Superman, when they were dating and stuff like that. That I thought dynamic was so good. It said so much about their relationship. I thought she grounded the movie really well. She wasn't like helpless and did a great job of helping the movie go along. And then at the end of the movie, when they were kissing, God, that was funny. When he's like, "Are you ready for that interview yet?" or whatever, and they walk to the back, and then Jimmy Olsen's talking with his editor, and the guy goes to Jimmy Olsen, "How long do you think they've been dating?" And he goes, "Oh, about 3 months." Like they obviously know that Lois Lane and Superman have been dating. And then if you follow them on this press tour, they've been like the darlings of the movie. Brosnahan, obviously, she's an Emmy winner from Miss Maisel, which was such a good show. It was awesome. Got her start in House of Cards, which we love. And Cornsweet really came out of nowhere. I mean, I've seen him as a very, very small character actor in this movie called Pearl, a horror movie. But I think those two won the movie. to me because their
Yeah.
legacy is going to go on much further than what happened in the movie.
So I like that pick. It's not my pick, but I do like it. Rachel Brosnahan probably has like a higher ceiling because it's easy. I mean, she obviously has an Emmy. She had a great performance. It's easy for something like this to propel her into other things as well. I thought David Cornsweet did an awesome job as Superman. He like very much looks the part. He was
Awesome.
charismatic. It's just tough for people that play Superman. Like it's hard for them to go into other things. People have very strong opinions one way or another on the Superman character. So I thought he did an awesome job. It will be interesting to see where his career goes from here. I think Rachel Brosnahan probably has it easier to pivot from Lois Lane into bigger and better things. Hopefully David Cornsweet gets a look. I think of what's the guy's name in freaking Force Awakens? Jonathan. I forget his name.
Boyega?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like he plays this like very big character in this very big franchise, and then obviously does the sequels, but then really nothing else beyond that. Same thing for Daisy Ridley to some degree. So anyways, I thought they did a great job and they had great chemistry. I think that's a great pick. For me, I think I'm going to pick James Gunn as the MVP, the person that wins the award for this one. And the reason is because I do think Superman is a hard movie to get right. And I think for the most part, he got it right. That alone, I think, is huge. I think it's one of the higher rated Supermans ever, maybe since the 1978 version of it, definitely over the most recent handful. So he won the award just based on that alone. Never mind that this is the first movie in what the DCU thing will be, whatever that looks like. Obviously they have big shoes to fill or someone to compete with in Marvel. Like he did a great job in that first movie. And I think when you look back on it years from now, this kind of gets into the Legacy Award. Like this is the Iron Man equivalent for Marvel, and I thought he did a really good job. It looks like it's exceeding expectations of the box office and is going to ultimately be a commercial success and a critical success for a comic book movie. So I'd give it to him.
That was awesome. No, so well said. And I think that's a perfect segue into the Legacy Award. So
Legacy Points Award. Will this movie matter in 10 years?
So in order for this movie to matter in 10 years, and you took the words right out of my mouth, is this Iron Man? Because Iron Man matters 20 years later. You know what I mean? Or whatever, however it is. Iron Man matters because it launched the MCU, and no matter what you say about the MCU in the last 5 years, it had a 12-year run of just banger after banger and storytelling and, dominating the box office and being a part of pulp culture in a way that hasn't happened. I don't know if Superman is going to do that. I don't know if... I already feel like superhero fatigue is setting in and has, for the last few years. 10 years from now, I don't know if superhero movies will be a thing. So I don't want to be wishy-washy, yes or no. Will it not? I mean, it'll matter. I do think that DC is going to have a successful run. So then I'll say yes, it will matter because this is the movie that launched the DCU, and I think they're going to have a good run in 10 years. I don't know if that run is still going to be sustainable, but looking back at this era, this is the movie that kind of maybe saved superhero movies. So
that is a good thought, and that's the one I agree with, and that's why I'm going to say yes, it will matter in 10 years. I do think it's the DCU's Iron Man. I do think, in a way, it saved superhero movies. You think of Endgame, what has it been, 3 or 4 or 5 years since that came out? I mean, honestly,
I think it was pre-COVID. 10
years, yeah. It feels like forever ago, but at the same time, not that long ago. Comic book movies, superhero movies have been in a slump since then. This is the first time I feel excited about a universe of characters that haven't been explored online. Yeah. So for that, it makes me think yes, I mean, they obviously have to execute on these movies. They have to have good talent and actual good movies. But I feel like the potential is there. And I do believe in James Gunn to some degree. So for that reason, I think that they're gonna execute it better than DC has executed on it in the past. And in 10 years, I think we'll look back and say this is the movie that kind of started it all.
Awesome. That's well said. I think you're right. I'm curious to see where it's going to go. I'm trying to get some clarification on Matt Reeves is the Batman and being in this universe, and I thought it wasn't, but then I read he might be. So James Gunn, he has a plan. They're two completely different styles of movie, and they have to be. You know what I mean? And I hope I can't get them in a movie together because it wouldn't even make sense tonally at all. But they got some different things coming up. They got like a Mike Flanagan, who's a big horror writer, is writing a movie Clayface, which is like a real horror movie that's going to be a DCU. They have obviously Supergirl coming up. I think Swamp Thing. He has a plan. So, and he learned from the best in Feige. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So I think it matters. Last one, the Rehash Verdict Award. Last take. Classic, cult fave, trash, anything else? I mean, I think we kind of already addressed that. I don't know that it's necessarily a classic, but like from a verdict, like I would say it's a great movie that's worth seeing if you're into comic book movies and action movies and summer blockbusters.
Yeah, I think, and I kind of, when I wrote it up a little bit, I said, if you like superhero movies, you're going to like this one. If you don't like superhero movies, it's not for you. I don't think it's not like The Dark Knight or something like, or even like Black Panther or something that can bring people in from that aren't like super interested in it. But I think it will motivate and excite the base of comic book movie lovers.
Yeah, for sure. So fun time. I'm glad we both saw it, like you said, within the first couple weeks. Got a chance to talk about it on the podcast. First time we've done it all summer, man. And I enjoyed going through these awards. What did you think about that part of the pod?
I love it. I mean, we have to do some fine tuning as always. The first time you do it isn't going to be how it's last, but I like this format like honestly 1,000 times better than just going through the movie. You know, I think it's way more fun.
Yeah, and to anyone that's still listening at this point, like we did pull these categories together pretty quickly and kind of came up with a lot of our answers on the fly. So I think to the degree that we have these as locked in categories for the podcast moving forward, I think we'll be able to give it a little bit more thought, have it flow a little bit better. But I think for just doing it in this first time, we had to get one under our belt, and we did. And I had a ton of fun doing it. I don't think that there's anything in the movie that didn't come up through these categories, that I missed. It's not like, oh man, I really want to talk about this one scene or one person. Like it kind of all came up naturally, which I think is a good thing.
There is one thing we didn't talk about that I would want to mention was the Kansas stuff when Superman was hurt, and Lois brought him back to his home in Kansas, and his parents are just, gosh, they couldn't have casted more regular people in this. In that scene with his dad on the porch, when his dad was like, I am just so proud of you, and they touch foreheads, and his dad's like crying. I get like, it's emotional just talking about it. That's the one scene I wish I could sneak in there, because that really humanized it. And then at the end of the movie, when Superman is being fixed by his robot buddies, and instead of seeing what he used to see, which was his real parents being, the messaging that would calm him, he would see home videos of him growing up on Kansas. And and to that music at the end, it was very touching. So I thought
I'm glad you mentioned it. That was like a slight eye-water moment for a comic book movie. I did think that was great. Dad was like a gushing, proud dad, and it was cool.
And that's classic James Gunn. Classic, end of Guardians with all them holding hands. Like, it's the family theme. Like, it's just classic James Gunn.
Love it. Hey, before we move on, because we've been cranking for 45, post-credit scenes.
Yep.
You had, was it Crypto and
just that one
Superman.
scene with Crypto and him. Yeah.
No, so that was, I don't know if that, I haven't read if that was supposed to mean anything, imply anything. Like, did you?
No. Now, I both credit scenes I made don't like.
What was the second one? Because I was late last night and I was like, I know there's a second one, but I'm just like, I'm going to get out of here instead of waiting 10 minutes.
It was just Mr. Terrific and Superman talking about rebuilding the city. Like, it was just and Superman was giving Mr. Terrific a hard time with how he was putting it back together, and that it was nothing crazy.
Huh. I wonder if that's supposed to lead.
Your classic Captain America at the end of the movie being like, well, you waited all this time and you were expecting to see something. I don't know if you remember that one, like the gym class Captain America one. But nothing that it wasn't like Tony Stark meeting the General or Thor's hammer. Right? It wasn't something like that.
Yeah, I wish there was something like that, but it's all good. I didn't get a chance to look and see the second one, so I'm glad we brought it up for a second. But Is that put a bow on Superman for us, or anything else you want to mention?
So. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, then, before we wrap up the pod, tell me the past couple things that you've watched since we've last done a podcast. Anything you want to discuss?
Yeah, I just finished The Better Sister on Amazon Prime. Elizabeth Banks, Jessica Biel. Good. I'm not going to be telling my grandkids about it. It's that classic formula of someone dead, good-looking people. It was good. It was some crazy I don't know, that doesn't make sense. And some of the acting was very iffy. but it was good. And then I am pushing through the studio. I'm about 9 in. I only got like 1 left or so, and it's hilarious, and I love it.
Ah, it's so good. I'm glad you're getting around to watching that. It's freaking
Yeah,
awesome.
because the Emmys nominations came out, and I just gotta, it's a month away, and I want to start getting caught up on that stuff.
Yeah, we were talking about it offline before when we will do an Emmy preview pod too. So, and we'll save some of that talk for that. As far as me, I've only finished a couple movies in the past month, and one of them is Predator: Killer of Killers. I think you watched that as well, or part of it,
I
right?
finished that too. Sorry. Yep.
Yeah, which is cool. It was an animated Predator movie, which I'll always love.
Mhm.
Predator is one of the idea of Predator in that first one is like one of my like classic type movies that I look back at my childhood. So anytime something new comes out, I'll watch that for sure. And I actually did enjoy that. I thought the action was good for a cartoon. Had some little unique things in the Predator universe that were things that I had never seen before. So, and then the Predator Badlands a new trailer came out, which I'm still trying to figure out what my thoughts are on it. I know some people don't like it. Some people did.
Not for me, man.
You don't.
I don't like Predator talking and being normal. I like Elle Fanning. She's great, but it was a little bit like I want my Predator to be quiet and kill people. I don't want like Predator with dreads walking around talking to me. No, I didn't get me fired up.
I'm still not decided, but yes, I do share some of those concerns. At one point, I was like, wait, is that thing talking English? Like, what the hell's going on right now? So, sure. But anyways, it is timely because that movie's kind of coming out soon. And I probably will see it like I do with most Predator stuff, despite any reservations that I have or you might have. Other thing that I watched was 28 Days Later, which is the original movie from that whole series where 28 years later had just come out. And then there was also 28 weeks later. So there's 3 of them. I think there's going to be another movie coming out soon too. It's about a virus kind of wipes out civilization. The first one was filmed in, I think, 2003. It looks like it was filmed in 2003. It's very old looking. We talked about this. It wasn't like my favorite movie. I didn't think it was like freaking earth shattering, but I wanted to see it because I do want to see 28 weeks later. And I do want to see 28 years later and kind of dig into that whole universe. So I'm just playing catch up, hoping to watch some of those in the next month as well.
Well, I'll be right there with you because I have seen 28 Days Later a long time ago, but I got to watch 28 Weeks because 28 Years got great reviews. So
it did. And Joe and Mal did a podcast on it, and I kind of want to listen to that deep dive, and I want to be kind of caught up to speed. So is there anything you plan to watch? I mean, I know you're finishing the studio, but like any movies that you're kind of eyeing in the next few weeks?
Fantastic Four. You said you got tickets to go see it Friday. I'm hoping to go see it next week. I'd love to do a pod in the next couple weeks about Fantastic Four. Getting solid reviews right now. Nothing like people aren't saying it's incredible. I mean, no, they're not like saying it's the best thing ever, but they're saying it's not the worst thing ever. So I think it's like probably up there with Thunderbolts, which I haven't seen either. But I'm just such a big Pedro Pascal guy. So that's the number one thing.
Yeah, I am going to go see that in a couple of days. It's just strange, like to see 2 movies in a week span. But I think I happen to have like a very light one day, and I'm just going to go see it during the day so I can be kind of caught up on the conversation and enjoy some of the podcasts that are coming out, digging into it. So I know nothing about Fantastic Four. I've never like really paid much attention to the old movies or comic book lore or any of that stuff. So it does look good. There was a new trailer with Superman last night that I thought was especially good. So I do look forward to it. I'll dig into those reviews between now and then as well. So, so there's that.
You're forgetting one thing though that you actually watched recently. Then you watched it live, and I would love to get your thoughts on it live on the podcast. You were at the infamous Coldplay concert.
Oh, dude, freaking Coldplay concert! What a thing. So, anyways, yeah, we were at that Wednesday night Coldplay concert in Boston or in Foxborough, and everyone knows about the affair couple, the cheating couple, all that stuff, the cheating CEO and HR lady. So we're towards like the tail end of the concert, maybe the last like half hour or so, and between like bigger songs and performances, Chris Martin's just kind of going around. Did we talk about this yet?
You and I talked about it, but I wanted to get your thoughts. I wanted to get your thoughts on the podcast.
So you just to reiterate, he's going around singing songs about people, and the camera like it's not like a Celtics game where they're just like looking at the crowd all the time and people are like jumping up and down, waving and stuff. I mean, the camera's focused on the crowd maybe like freaking 3 times the whole concert. Anyway, so Chris Martin in between again big performances, he's just going around singing songs about people. And they're like 2 or 3 minute songs. So he sang one about this guy. It was whatever, people cheered. It was nice. And then they move on to someone else. Well, the second one was this couple. And dude, you saw, like everyone saw, they had the reaction. They had the reaction of people that are having an affair. Like there's that is the now written in stone reaction to how to handle a kiss cam type scenario or being on a video in public when you're having an affair was the most obvious thing. And I think Chris Martin said either those people are having an affair or they're just really shy. And at that point, like everyone already was thinking that. So it was just a wild reaction. Those people in hindsight probably wish they just stuck it out, and people that were in the crowd that might have known him, because inevitably people were there that would have known him, they just would have saw them. It would have been weird. Their cover would have been blown, but they wouldn't have freaking been like the biggest meme in the history of memes. It's wild what it has become since then.
I know, and it is at every single baseball game, every baseball stadium across the country, every concert. Everybody is doing it. Every single time they play a Coldplay song, and then they go to different people in the crowd. Everyone in the crowd knows what to do, and
yeah,
obviously
the Phillies were doing it.
An extent. What's that?
The Phillies, I think, are the team that was doing this. Maybe all teams are, where they just it's like between
it's
innings,
literally
they're
across the country. It's
like a whole segment. People are all doing it.
And to the point where it's very funny, and obviously they, did their own thing. Now I'm like, I hope they move. I just feel bad for their families. You know what I mean? But that are like caught up in this, but didn't ask for that.
Yeah, I mean,
but
feel bad for their kids and spouses, and it's a freaking weird situation, man. I mean, there's probably 100 people at that concert that night were all having affairs. It's a weird thing to be blown up like that. It's just a stupid situation for those people.
Idiots, and it's all around. But we haven't had a viral moment like that in I don't remember one. You know what I mean? In a long time. That's quite a viral moment.
That's about as viral as it could possibly get. You're enjoying a concert one minute, and then next thing you know, your life is freaking completely changed. Want to know something kind of funny about this? Is the guy is a member at Webb Hannett Golf Course in Kennebunk, and I guess he owns a house on the golf course. And I've actually talked to a few people that know him and have had interactions with him that I won't get into on the podcast. But it's kind of a funny, weird world.
Small world. Well, awesome. I just wanted to get your feedback on the record for that.
Glad we could rehash the Coldplay event. And last thing, Chris Martin at the Wisconsin show, he was, before they do this same segment, he was like, just want to give you guys a heads up now that, we're going to be showing people from the crowd. So he didn't say like anything about mistresses or affairs, but he's like, if you want to redo your makeup or make sure you look okay, like we're going to be doing this in a couple of minutes. So he'll probably say something like that at every concert moving forward. Just kind of funny.
Man. I know from Coldplay, I remember obviously he's the man, but one of the things that sticks out with me, he was a huge Game of Thrones fan, and there was a segment where he did with the cast where he wrote a bunch of Game of Thrones songs. I don't know if you remember this. It was from the early days of Game of Thrones, and he's just hilarious. He's very, very, very funny and very charismatic on camera and on mic, obviously. So
he's freaking money. Like he's a really good performer, So yeah, he's the man. So, anyways, glad you got a chance to bring that up.
Awesome. Good stuff, bud.
All right, pal. Well, listen, that's it for us for this episode, and we will be back hopefully in a couple of weeks to another one about Fantastic Four and then Emmy preview a little bit after that. So, a lot to look forward to.
Oh, it's going to be a great, great summer doing this. So, looking forward to it.
Definitely. All right. Talk soon, pal. See you.
All right, buddy.